More than 900 tractors lined the streets of Brussels as farmers, angry at red tape and unfair competition from cheap imports, drove their tractors in a show of force against EU ministers meeting in the Belgian capital to address agricultural concerns.
네, 관료주의와 값싼 수입품과의 불리한 경쟁에 분노한 농부들이 벨기에 수도에서 열리고 있는 유럽연합 농업장관회의에 항의해 트랙터를 몰고 무력시위를 벌이면서 900대 이상의 트랙터가 브뤼셀 거리를 점령했습니다. Tell us more.
Right. This reminds me of the story I think we covered a few weeks ago when the French capital, all the roads leading into the French capital were blocked by tractors who, were driven by these farmers who were upset at basically the same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the red tape and unfair, economic practices that are putting them at a disadvantage compared to imports.
Sure. When we say red tape, we're talking about bureaucracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of the regulations that go
Sure.
into basically, I think EU has pretty tough regulations when it comes to food. So I guess it's a little less extreme for imports. So what happened in Brussels was these protesting farmers, they filled the streets on Monday, local time, and they're upset, as we mentioned, by what they see as red tape surrounding agricultural policies and unfair competition from other countries' cheap imports that don't have to follow these EU regulations. And a lot of these tractors, they surrounded the European Council building in Brussels, and EU ministers were meeting at that time to discuss agriculture, the agriculture.
Right.
And the police said that the protesters entered the city with 900 tractors. They sprayed liquid manure and even threw eggs and flares at the officers.
My goodness. 정말 말 그대로 아수라장이었네요. 네. EU 커미션이 이제 벨기에 브러셀스에 있습니다. 그래서 이제 종종 뉴스에서 브러셀스가 이렇게 말했다. 이런 말이 나오면 보통은 EU에서 이렇게 말했다라는 의미인데 이제 실제로 이 EU 회의장 밖에서 시위가 벌어진 모습입니다. 자, 첫 번째 표현 볼게요. Loads of tractors lined the streets.
Right. When you line something, it basically means you're standing in a row, getting into line. And if you're lining the streets, we usually use this expression when we are talking about a lot of people, a big group of people, or even things like tractors in one place for a certain event.
네. line이 동사로 쓰였습니다. 그래서 늘어서다라는 뜻이 있고요. line the streets, 길에 늘어섰다라는 의미입니다. 자, show of force는요?
A show of force is like an open demonstration of power or a display of great numbers of people and or resources, usually when they have a specific purpose or when they want to give some sort of statement.
And it's one set expression,
Yes.
isn't it? 네, 무력시위라는 뜻입니다. 다시 한번 헤드라인 읽어볼게요. More than 900 tractors lined the streets of Brussels as farmers, angry at red tape and unfair competition from cheap imports, drove their tractors in a show of force against EU ministers meeting in the Belgian capital to address agricultural concerns. This is our next headline.
A 39-year-old Iranian-born architect has broken beauty norms by winning Miss Germany 2024, highlighting a shift towards inclusivity and diversity in beauty pageants.
39세의 이란 출신 건축가가 올해 미스 독일로 뽑히면서 미에 대한 기존 관념을 깨는 결과를 보여줬습니다. 이는 포용성과 다양성을 지향하는 미인 대회의 최근 변화를 나타낸다는 평가입니다. So this is a big change, isn't it? Yeah,
huge change.
Yeah.
So, we mentioned she's broken the beauty norms
Right.
because, there's a lot of different factors. But first of all, her age.
Yeah.
And it was possible because apparently they got rid of the age restriction for the beauty pageant in Germany. And her win is a landmark moment, definitely in the beauty pageant world. And it sort of signals a broader acceptance and celebration of diversity. So her Iranian heritage, and she's an architect, so her professional background, it's kind of adding these layers to her identity,
Right.
and it's definitely challenging the traditional beauty queen stereotypes.
Exactly.
Right. So, I don't think she considers this as a personal triumph, but it sort of stands as, a moment for progressive change, as she says that she will be, voicing support for young women with same background as her, so migrant
Yeah,
backgrounds,
yeah.
and she's going to use her title to advocate for underprivileged and oppressed women, especially those from Iran, just like her.
기존에 생각했던 그런 미의 기준, 뷰티 스탠더드스에 반하는 그런 점이 참 많아요.
Yeah,
그래서
yeah.
이번에 사실 독일에서 나이 제한도 없애고 그다음에 수영복 심사도
Yep.
없애고 여러 가지로 많이 없앴습니다. 그래서 결과적으로는 39세의 이민자 출신의 또 워킹맘이라고 이제 또 몇몇 기사에서 보니까 네, 워킹맘이기도 한 그런 건축가가 우승을 차지하게 됐습니다. You mentioned it before, but beauty norms, she broke that.
Yeah, yeah. So beauty norms, a norm is something that is just usual, typical, or
Right.
standard. So it's like an established standard or average. And in this case, it's talking about the beauty standards that we are accustomed to.
네, 그렇습니다. 미에 대한 일반적인 기준이라는 뜻이 되겠고요. Shift towards something.
Right. So shift means to move, or cause something or someone to move, or it could also mean to change from one position or direction to another. Sometimes just when we use this a lot when we're talking about like slight moves or slight direction changes.
그렇죠. 이 shift라는 게 살짝 움직인다라는 뜻, 뭔가 이렇게 바뀐다라는 뜻이 있어요. 그래서 우리 컴퓨터 키보드에 보면은 shift 키가 있죠. 보통 이 shift 키를 누르고 나서 어떤 키를 누르면 그 원래의 글자 말고 위에 있는 작은 걸로
Yep.
변하잖아요. 이렇게 변한다라는 의미가 있습니다. A shift towards something, 어느 방향으로 변하고 있는 이런 미인 대회를 얘기를 하고 있는 겁니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. A 39-year-old Iranian-born architect has broken beauty norms by winning Miss Germany 2024, highlighting a shift towards inclusivity and diversity in beauty pageants. 그리고 미인 대회를 참고로 beauty pageant라고 합니다. 자, 마지막 헤드라인 가볼게요.
A watch that froze in time at the exact moment the atomic bomb was detonated over the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6th, 1945, has fetched over $31,000 at a U.S. auction.
1945년 8월 6일 일본 히로시마에서 원자폭탄이 터진 바로 그 순간에 멈춘 시계가 미국의 한 경매에서 3만 1,000달러, 우리 돈으로 4,100만 원 이상의 가격에 낙찰됐습니다. Wow.
Yeah.
So this watch, it froze in time, it melted at that exact moment.
That exact moment. That's right. So it's a small brass tone watch, and the watch's time reads 8:15 a.m., which was that exact moment that the bomb was detonated, or the atomic bomb was detonated over the Japanese city of Hiroshima. And they say that it's been in a blast. It kind of melted. So the crystal, it's a little cloudy, so it's
Right.
difficult to read. But you can still see the watch's hands
Yeah.
halted at 8:15 a.m. And apparently it was recovered from the ruins of Hiroshima by a British soldier who saw this and
Yeah.
retrieved it in the city while on a mission to provide emergency supplies there. And I think it just shows us the immense destruction of the first atomic bomb that was
Yep.
detonated over a city.
Yes, exactly. 역사가 바뀐 그 순간이었죠. 그래서 이 히로시마의 폭탄이 터진 그 순간 8시 15분에 마침 이 손목시계 리스트워치가 딱 멈춰버린 겁니다. 미리 말하자면 그때 이제 탁 녹아버렸다라고
Yeah,
하는데 녹아서 없어진 게 아니고요. 그 crystal casing, crystal 뭐라 그럴까요? The outside
Yeah,
of the watch.
yeah.
그 부분이 지금은 많이 좀 뿌옇긴 하지만 그래도 이제 8시 15분이라는 게 명확하게 또 보인다고 하네요. 4천만 원 정도의
Yep.
낙찰이 됐답니다. 한번 표현 볼까요? At the exact moment.
Right, at the exact moment. So we can use this expression when we need to indicate that something happened precisely at one particular point in time.
Right.
And we're using this because we're trying to emphasize that it was exactly at 8:15 a.m.
Right.
that the bomb, fell on Hiroshima, and the watch happened to be affected by the blast.
그렇죠. 바로 그 순간 이걸 강조하기 위해서 at the exact moment라고 하고요. detonate는요?
Detonate. So detonate means to explode or to cause to explode. And we usually use this with words like bombs.
네, 폭발하다 네, 이런 뜻이죠. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A watch that froze in time at the exact moment the atomic bomb was detonated over the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, has fetched over $31,000 at a US auction. Well, that's it for our headlines.